Hello,
Hi, CJ.
how are you?
I'm well. Can you hear me all right?
Good.
Excellent.
Yes, I can.
So you're in your office. I recognize it.
I am in my office, yes.
And I'm in my library. So it makes a good back. Who knew that we were going to end up having to think about, proper backdrops and good grooming for doing it?
Yeah, a good grooming doesn't really apply to me. I've kind of got my stay-at-home beard going on.
Looks great. So you stayed in from
Right.
fishing today?
I'm sorry, what?
You stayed in from fishing today?
I did. I'm going tomorrow and Saturday.
So today, as it happens, is Virtual Independent Bookstore Day, which has leapt into.
Congratulations.
Well, it'll be great. And I thought we might talk about a few books that we have read and enjoyed to kind of celebrate that. Do you have a candidate?
A few books I have enjoyed recently.
Anytime.
Anytime. Oh, there's so many. I mean, I could list hundreds. I think my favorite book of all time is still probably Catch 22, Joseph Heller. I think I've read it 4 times now. Um, the The Rise of Theodore Roosevelt is another one, and I'm thinking of ones I've read multiple times. Cormac McCarthy, Blood Meridian is another one. Um, there's
Uh,
just so many.
sure. While you're thinking, I have a couple that I would like to recommend that I have just
Sure.
done. One, I'm going to hold it up, is a new book by Francine Matthews. And it's called Death on Tuckernuck, which I did not know is a little tiny island right off Nantucket. It's almost like an annex of Nantucket, but it's either for the very long time residents or it's kind of one of those exclusive rich playgrounds. And as the hurricane is bearing down on this little island and people have to be evacuated, there's a distress signal and a boat with, unsurprisingly, a body in it. Wow. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, but it's just amazing. The storm is really providing a beat for this story, for the pacing. And it switches back and forth to several different narrators and points of view, but the storm is a constant, just pulsing along. So it's really a thriller, and I'm enjoying it a lot. Have you ever been to Nantucket?
I have not. I have never been there.
All right, but now I have a clearer picture of what it might look like. What are you working on at the moment? We could talk about that.
Sure. I'm working on the 21st Joe Pickett novel. It's called Dark Sky. And, one real positive for me from this whole stay-at-home thing. I mean, honestly, staying at home is pretty much what I do anyway. It's basically a Thursday, but it did eliminate a lot of travel that I was, had doing and had planned. So I've been able to spend a lot of time working, and I'm almost complete with the first manuscript, first draft of the next novel, with the deadline not until October. So I'm closing in on the last 2 chapters of the book, and I'm really excited about it. It's one of my favorites so far.
That is exciting. I've talked to a lot of writers during this and will be. And the truth is that a writer's life is basically social distancing anyway. So
Right, right.
I think that you all get to adapt to it more easily than people in different kinds of careers. For me, it's been interesting. It is much more work to do these virtual events than it was
I bet.
yeah, I mean, and the thing, what I really miss, CJ, is I miss the energy of the people in the room with us, who are always so delighted to see you and excited and, ask questions and they want to get in line and get their picture taken and all. And so, the energy when we do this kind of thing really has to be all from you and me. And it's a lot more draining than it is to do a live event.
It is, and luckily I was at your store last month with the book that just Long Range. It just came out, and then continued on there on a book tour for another 9 days. And then, and so that was just, endless energy, travel, meeting people. At the same time that I was on the road, they were casting the TV show, The Big Sky. So there were announcements every day. It was just absolutely exciting every day. And then all of a sudden it came to an abrupt conclusion on March 12th, I believe, where all book tours were canceled, all events were canceled, and I was suddenly at home. It was just turn off, turn on kind of day, and it's been like that ever since.
Yeah, it was just like a spigot went off. And timing is everything. And I'm really glad that your event was before, so to speak, capital B. It's been,
Mine too.
yeah, it's been a lot more challenging for authors that we have dealt with. I feel fortunate that we actually salvaged every one of our events, giving those authors a chance to promote their books. But we've all had to pivot on a dime, and there's no telling when it's going to reopen. But you know what I really like? I like these little book chats because we didn't really have any way to do this and share it with people until we both learned Zoom, right?
That's right. It's, I've got mixed feelings about it because for the first 3 weeks, that's before everybody discovered Zoom. Now, the last 5 days, I've been doing Zoom chats, 2 or 3 a day. Part of them, not all of them are book related. I'm involved in Wyoming tourism and some other, other just regular meetings. But yeah, I've been spending a lot of time with this, and we do a family get together every Sunday night. But yeah, it's for 3 weeks, it was very quiet.
That was the second before, right? So there we go.
That's right.
So I'm going to circle back to you, but let me recommend another book that I'm really excited about. It doesn't come out until June 1st. Martin Walker, who writes this wonderful series set in France in the Dordogne. It's not quite like Wyoming. If I were going to say that part of France was like Wyoming, I'd probably go to the Auvergne, which has a large, I think I've got that right. I hope that's right. Anyway, a department in France that has, lots of cattle and a Wild West feeling. But the Dordogne is where the prehistoric, the Neanderthal and all of that kind of thing, limestone caves and fabulous food, and the Perigord. And I love this series. This one's called The Shooting at Chateau Rock. But if you go all the way back to Bruno, Chief of Police, which I have over here, you get to follow the arc of this French policeman. He's not really that different than Joe Pickett.
I would like to read both those books that you've recommended. They both sound interesting.
You would love Bruno, I think, because the food and wine, aside from everything else, are just amazing. Bruno's is really a cook, but he used to serve in the military, CJ, so he has a lot of skills that the ordinary policeman wouldn't have. And Martin works in, because he was the head of UPI, very distinguished journalist, Scottish journalist, lives part-time in the US and part-time in France. And he really has a handle on a lot of historical and world events that he works into his plots. So they're a really interesting mix, kind of the way you do it, of local culture and local geography and a very distinct regionalism, and at the same time, a really universal kind of story.
Well, it sounds good. I'm going to jot those down. I do have one book that it's not out yet. I read it in galley form that I really recommend, that I really liked, and it's called Winter Counts. And it's a first novel by, I had to look his name up because it's hard, David Heska Wanbley Whedon.
Wow.
He lives in Denver. He's an enrolled member of the Sioux tribe in South Dakota. And it's the first book, it's a crime novel, and the first novel I've ever read from the point of view of an American Indian, where I felt totally authentic. It really, and I loved it because it's not, pseudo mystical. It's not, there's no real agenda to it, but it's all about the reservation and things happening on the reservation. And it was great. I can't say enough about that book.
Well, I take your recommendations very seriously, so I will certainly look at it. My final choice was a book by a fellow Putnam author, J. Todd Scott. And this new one's called Lost River, set,
What's the name? I can't, can you
I'm
raise it up?
sorry,
I can't see.
there you go. How's that?
Oh, okay.
It's called Lost River. And J. Todd has written some other books set in Texas, but in this case, he goes off to Kentucky, and he's a career DEA agent. Or no, wait,
I
sorry,
know it.
I'm wrong. ATF, not DEA. And he was stationed here in Phoenix for a while. So his first two or maybe three books we actually premiered here at the store, and then he moved back to Texas, which I've tried to get over. And so I'm sure he'll come and see us. But I think he's a really interesting writer. And in this case, he actually has a DEA agent, a special agent, who's kind of leading it, which is why I was thinking DEA when he's really ATF. But I mean, he's a real professional, in this branch of law enforcement. And so his books are, as you just said about the book you were recommending, really authentic. I mean, he's lived what he's writing about, and he has a great.
I've read a couple of his, and he's very good. I agree.
So tell us what's going on. I know the paperback of your most recent Montana book is coming out on Tuesday. Tell us what's going on with the TV series, because interestingly enough, it's not Joe Pickett, but Cassie Dool, who's getting television.
That's right. Right. It's gonna be called The Big Sky, and the guy behind it is David E. Kelly, who's done a lot of TV shows. And he bought the book, The Highway, about, what was it, 5-6 years ago, and then bought every subsequent book with Cassie Dool in it since then. And he's been wanting to do a show for a long time. And for a while, it was going to be at the Epix network, and then on A&E, and then just I think it was January or February, landed what they call straight to series deal with ABC. So ABC just said, okay, you've got a season, go. And so they were suddenly scrambling, and they hired a very good cast, and we're going to start filming in March. All of that has been delayed. They're going to now start filming in July, which was their original plan, and it's going to air this fall on ABC.
Wow, that is a big update. So The Bitter Roots is the book for Cassie where she begins a new sort of life in Montana.
Well, yeah, she's in Montana previously, but this is the first book that she's a private investigator rather than working for sheriff's department. Right.
That's what I meant. So you've given her a new career ladder. So now you've got some pressure to write more Cassie Dools.
I do, and now I have the time to do it.
Exactly. That's where I was going. I was thinking, in a way, you should have confessed that you're almost through with the Joe Pickett, because now everybody's going to think, great, he has time to write a Cassie Dool as well. But well,
that will be due not this year, but next year. But I might start on it early. I've got an idea and I've got a title, and on the days I'm not fishing and here at home, I might as well.
Well, Minotaur, I'm sure, would gladly adjust to that. In fact, CJ, one of the other fallouts from all of this is that book publication dates are leaping all over the place. I get spreadsheets every day about, some titles have moved, some titles have stayed the same. I have no idea on what basis many of those decisions are being made. It may relate to the author. It may relate to publisher cash flow. It may relate to production issues with people working at home. I complained for a long time that I could not keep up with the volume of advanced reading copies that I get in my office, as you probably know, like a tower. And that's another spigot that turned off in a flash, because there's nobody working.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's nobody working to send them out. So today I got a request to do an event from an author coming out in May. And my real question was, do I have a copy of her book I can read? Because I can't talk to her, if I haven't read it. So it's really so weird, trying to keep pace. But if you got a Cassie Dool done, I imagine they would fit it in happily.
I would guess that they would, because they did want to do one for next year, but I wanted to kind of take a year off because the pace of a book and a half a year was getting a little grinding. So therefore, I got the year off, and now I have all the time in the world.
Wonderful. And you're occupying some of it fishing. I feel sure you are out fishing part of the time.
Absolutely.
How's the weather there near Saratoga?
Today it's not so good. It's kind of cold and windy, but this week it's been beautiful, and it's supposed to be beautiful for the rest of the week going into next week, hitting, for us, pretty high temperatures for May. It will be in the 70s, which that never happens. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm going to try not to cry because it's supposed to go up to 103 this weekend in Saskatoon. There we are.
Yes.
Listen, I won't take up any more of your time, but I'm glad we had a chance to catch up with what you're doing and recommend a few books to readers. So this is a great way to celebrate virtual independent bookstore day. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to you. You've got the best one in the whole country as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, that's so kind of you. You know, the lucky thing, CJ, is that because Scottsdale's been a tourist destination more than a living destination, at least the first 10 years or so we were in business, we actually have been doing exactly what we're doing for the last 30 years. So, it isn't that we've had to learn new stuff particularly, it's that we're missing those things that I've already mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
We're missing having people in the store. We're missing having fans come to events. But as far as business model goes, we were already set up for this. So, it's really been an education, and I hope that other stores will get to learn and benefit from it as well. So
Me too.
You got some little stores there in Wyoming that may actually come out of this ahead of where they were before it started.
I hope so. There aren't too many of them.
Very true. Well, you always have us, so there we are. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Bye.
You too. Goodbye.